Hi all. Today we are going to discuss about the circulatory system. You know that circulatory system is very important to us because it is a system which carries all the required things for our body. It includes nutrients, minerals, vitamins, hormones, maintaining the temperature inside of the body, uh, and it carries the body defense systems, that is white blood cells, everything. It is carried by the circulatory system. So it is very important to know the what are how the circulatory system functions in the basic ways, how this circulatory system functions, what are the different types of circulations we are having, so how they are breathing, how they are circulating these fluids in different parts of the body. So we have to study all the things. So before we entering to the according to the 10th syllabus, we have only one part, that is a circulatory system in humans, that is human heart and its associated structures. So here we will just see how the different organisms, how they are doing its circulation. So you know that we are having two types of circulation, which is known as the open circulatory system and closed circulatory system. So open circulatory system, we know that open circulatory systems are the systems there is no other structures. It is simply, that means they don't have any divisions among them. This is These are the two types of system that is normally present. That is, one is known as the open circulatory system, which is present inside one of these insects. You can know that this is clicked from a book, that's why it is like this. So this insect is having an open circulatory system. That means there is no difference between the circulatory fluid and the interstitial fluid. That means the fluid that is present inside the body. And this particular circulatory systems are present in many of the invertebrates. And this is one of the closed circulatory system which is present in fishes, and in humans also we are having this closed circulatory system. That means this is having a heart pumping the blood from one area to taking the oxygenated blood from one area, and it is bringing the deoxygenated blood, and the process of exchange of gas takes place. And another important thing is that whenever the circulation is taking place, whenever there is a circulation, there are three types of circulations are present according to the structure of the heart. These are the three types of circulation. One is known as the single circulation, this one, which is mostly seen in fishes, and this is known as the triples. That means this is known as the double circulation, and that means double circulation in with a three chambered heart, and this is the double circulation with the four chambered heart, and this is a single chambered heart which is present on the fishes. Sorry, not single chamber, two chambered heart. This is the three chambered heart which is present in amphibians, and this is a four chambered heart that is present in birds, and the same thing it is present in us also. So here we have to and here now we are going to discuss about the structure of human heart. That means how the four chambered heart is helping us to do the circulation in our body. And if you see here, this is the structure of the human heart. We can see that this is the diagram of the human heart, and basically it is chambered one. That means it is having four chambered, and this is the left side, this is the left side, and this is the right side. And the left side is responsible for carrying the oxygenated blood, and the right side is responsible for carrying the deoxygenated blood. And if you see here, you can see that these chambers are having different names. The left side, the upper chamber, this is known as the left atrium, and the downside is known as the left ventricles. Same to the right, this is the right ventricles, and this is the right atrium. So atrium is the connection from the lungs for the deoxygenated blood, and from left atrium blood will be taken to the lungs for the purpose of purification. So, and if you see here, and the one more thing, this particular part of the heart, that means the left ventricle side, is much thicker than the right ventricle, because this left ventricle is the original area which pumps. So when they are pumping, the blood will circulate out to the different parts of the body. And another one more thing, if you see here, 1 minute, just a minute. And if you see another one, that these atrium, the left side, left atrium, left ventricle, right atrium, right ventricle, they both working as a chambers. Chambers means a closed area. And you can see here two white color structures like this. These are known as the valve. That means one valve opens from the left atrium to the left ventricle. That means this one, which is known as the mitral valve. That means when the blood comes and fill here, it opens and flow to here, and the chamber will be filled. Same way here also, but given in different names. Here also one valve is there, here also one valve is there. So these valves opens and closes for the functioning of the heart. That means whenever the heart is pumping, the blood, this part will open, the blood will circulate to the systemic part, that means other part of the body. Same way, blood from the ventricles pass to the pulmonary part of the lungs for the purification. Like that, simultaneously these both areas will function. And another one more thing you have to understand is the chamber. That means there are some valves are also connected, because inside the heart the pressure is very high whenever the heart is pumping. Since the pressure is very high, in order to maintain that pressure, there is a big valve is there. You can see here, big valve, and these valve is known as the aorta or aortic aorta. That means aorta. This aorta is responsible for carrying the oxygenated blood from this part of the heart to the other areas. And the same way here also we are having this one. This will carry the blood to the lungs. But whenever we are discussing, it is very, you should be very careful that why these valves are having big structures, especially the aorta is are having big structures, and what is the function of these bigger structures? Because when the heart is pumping, that pressure has to be maintained for some time. For that, this particular valve should be big in size. So as they go to the different parts of the body, the size of the valve will be getting reduced and reduced. Then it will enter into the tissues. This is the basic structure of human heart. One more thing forgot. So whenever the blood is coming to the right part, that is the right atrium side, whenever it is coming to the right part, the blood is not coming in a single way. So the deoxygenated blood from the upper part of the body will be brought by the superior vena cavas. Vena cava means the large valve sized one, vena cavas, and this side it was brought by the inferior vena cavas. That means the blood from the head part will be brought by the superior vena cavas. Blood deoxygenated blood from the down part of the body will be brought by the inferior vena cavas. This is the basic structure of a human heart. You don't want to study how the heart is pumping, but you have to know the basic structure. And this full heart is made up of muscle, which is known as the cardiac muscle, and in between them there is a separation also, which one is known as the septum. And the next we are going to see about what are the structures that is responsible to carry this blood from one part of the body, that means to the heart, to the other parts of the body. These are the blood vessels that is responsible to carry. And you had seen that aorta. Aortas are very big valve, very big one. This aorta, as they start its journey, it will become very small, which is known as the arteries. And arteries will again become small, which is known as the arterioles. Then it will enter into the tissues. Same way, when they are returning back to the heart, veins, capillaries, venules, veins, and to the heart. And remember one more thing, arteries don't have valve and veins are having valve. Valve means it is not a, it's like something like a flap. Why they are having this valve like flap structures? Because backflow of the blood is not allowed. That means once the blood is started to move in this direction, it is not allowed to come back again to the former direction. It is not allowed. In order to stop that, they are having valve. And here in arteries, they don't want valve. They don't have valve because pumping of the blood, that means this blood flows from the left side, left ventricle, from the pumping. So here the blood has to flow very smoothly to all over the body. So here we don't want valve, but here we need valve because they should not be brought back. And if you see, arteries are much thicker than the veins, and the most thinnest one is capillaries. Why we have this type of divisions, that is arteries, capillaries, veins? Because if you see the structure, when we remember the last structure, you have seen aorta. When the heart is pumping, the pressure, in order to maintain the pressure, aorta is required. Then these aortas become arteries, and these arteries again become arterioles, and these arterioles will become capillaries. And why they are becoming smaller and smaller and smaller? Because when you see the tissues are very very small, very very small, and in those tissues it is not possible for these bigger structures to enter. It is not possible. So in order to maintain the entry, plus in order to maintain the pressure is very important. If the pressure is not proper, the diffusion of gases will never takes place. That means the exchange of gases between the capillaries and the tissues, between the lungs, it will not takes place. So it is very important. In order to maintain that, the bigger side structures become smaller and smaller and smaller. And when we are going back to the heart, the smallest structures are becoming bigger and bigger with the presence of valve, so that they don't have to backflow. And here when we see, there is one more thing. Why what do you mean by an artery, and what do you mean by a vein? There are some definitions which were studied in the lower classes. That means arteries are structures which carries oxygenated blood from the left side of the heart to the other parts of the body, and the veins are the structures which carries deoxygenated blood from the tissues to the right side of the heart. That is mostly we have studied this definition. but we have to re-clarify. That means we have to clarify that definition once again. So in a 10th standard and above, when somebody is asking what do you mean by an artery, you have to say that the structure which carries or which allows the, that means which carries blood away from the heart. Let it be oxygenated or deoxygenated, doesn't matter. Any structure which carries, or as a circular system, blood vessel which carries blood or which carries blood away from the heart, it is known as an artery. And the veins means structures which carries blood towards the heart. So this should be the definition you have to give. That means arteries are the structures which carries blood away from the heart, and veins are the structures which carries blood towards the heart. And arteries carries mainly oxygenated blood, and the veins carries mainly deoxygenated blood. And one more thing you have to know, you have to understand that whenever I am saying arteries, whenever I'm that means arteries carries oxygenated blood, it doesn't mean that it carries 100% oxygenated blood. uh, a few amount of deoxygenated blood is also present. Same way here in the vein also, it doesn't mean that 100% of blood is oxygenated. Few percentage of the blood is deoxygenated. So these things we have to remember. These things you have to keep in your mind for the to understand how the circulation takes place. The another one is, one of the major important thing that takes place in our body is known as the double circulation. Double circulation means in our body the circulation takes place twice. Twice in the sense means just about the double circulation and its importance. And what do you mean by double circulation? Double circulation means the blood will enter two times inside the heart to finish one circulation. That means it will enter, it is come out through this left side like this, and it will again enter. That means two times they are entering to the heart to finish one circulation. That particular process is known as double circulation. And in double circulation there are two types are there inside that. One is mean by the pulmonary circulation, another is known as the systemic circulation. Pulmonary circulation, pulma means lungs. Pulmonary circulation means the circulation between the heart and the lungs. For example, here you have to understand one more thing. Here it is given as arteries, here it is given as veins. I think you might have seen that. If you see the definition, that means arteries carries oxygenated blood. If you are going with that definition, you can see here that here it is carrying deoxygenated blood. And veins, if you are saying that veins carries deoxygenated blood, but here it is veins are carrying oxygenated blood. Because of this reason only I have said to change the definition. That means arteries are the blood vessels which carries blood away from the heart. So it is now it is carrying away from the heart. Veins are the blood vessels which carries blood towards the heart. That is why pulmonary arteries are responsible to carry deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle part of the heart to the lungs, where the purification takes place. That means exchange of the gases takes place, carbon dioxide and oxygen. Carbon dioxide will be given and oxygen will be taken to the blood, and that will be taken from that lungs to the left part through pulmonary veins. Once it is reaches to the heart, the ventricles will fill and the heart will pump, that will circulate all over the body. And this is one of the main function that takes place inside the mammalian, not only in mammalian kingdom, many of the organism that is living on land, that is terrestrial organism, and this particular function is known as double circulation. And this double circulation is very much important so that the proper amount of oxygen will be given to the tissues according to the need of the body. That means whenever we are climbing a mountain, our heart will start beating faster. When the heart started to beat faster, our breathing rate also will be increased. According to that, this will, according to the situation, according to the need, this will change. But wherever the organisms are having single circulation, it is not possible. That means two chambered heart with single circulation, it is very difficult. And the organisms with three chambered heart also, for example some of the amphibians, it is little difficult, but few of them will survive, but many of them are not. So it is one of the main advantage of the double circulation. I hope that at least you got what does you mean by circulation, how the circulatory system is helping us. Next, we are moving into the topic known as blood clotting. So there is a portion is there in your textbook. They have said that what will happen if the leakage is happened. So when the leakage is happened, the process that takes place is blood clotting. When you see this diagram, you can see that uh, RBCs are biconcave in shape, which is the big round one, which you can see there. These things, and these are the broken vessels and the blood is moving out now. So when the blood is moving out, it is activated. That means the platelets will be activated, and this blood clotting event is 100% controlled by genes. So if there is any problem happens inside the gene, there are many factors like factor 7, factor 8, factor 9, factor 12, blood clotting factors. If there is any problem happens inside that particular factors which is 100% controlled by the gene, the blood clotting will not takes place. One such disease we call it as hemophilia. That means if the wound is happened, the blood clotting never takes place. And to the blood, if anywhere the blood is ruptured, the platelets will come and do its function. Otherwise the platelets are also known as thrombocytes. So they will come and do the blocking process. And if the blocking is not done, what will happen? There will be the leakage, pressure leakage will be there. Number two, there is a chance for invading of microorganisms to the body, and it will cause other infections and diseases to us. So in order to avoid that, the blood will undergo clotting, and this is how the clotting takes place. Inside the clotting, we have platelets, we have fibrin, thread like structures. They will all club together and they will seal wherever the leakage has happened. So this particular process is known as blood clotting. Another, there is one more thing which is said from your part, that is lymph. Lymph means, this is the diagram that is going for the lymph. The term lymph means, which is originated from a Latin word which is means water. Water means colorless. So if you see that these are the arterioles, and it is entering into tissues. That means these branch structures are known as the capillaries, which is entering to the tissues, and this one is vein. And apart there you can see a parrot green colored structure, colored one, which is running, known as the lymphatic tissues. Actually the lymphatic tissues are interstitial tissues. That means it is another circulatory part which is running apart from the normal systemic circulation. It is another circulatory part which will be more content with fat, carbohydrates, and lymphocytes. Lymphocytes means T cells, which are responsible for the fighting. They are one among the soldiers which fights against the disease. So the fights against the invaded microorganisms. So this lymph carries those things. That means what is happening is whenever there is an excess carbohydrate or whenever there is an excess fluid present inside these arterioles or veins, there will be, because if you see here, they all are connected over here and there they have connected. So whenever there is whenever there is excess in these structures, they will be they will be passed through another system known as lymphatic tissue through the process of diffusion, and they will be circulated all over here, all over the body, all over the body, not almost all over the body we can have the lymphatic system. So they will circulate there. Once they are circulated, if there is any need, excess need of these carbohydrates or other things, that will be taken back to the systemic tissues, and they are the main area where the T cells are functioning. That is why they are known as lymphocytes. That means cytes means cells, lymph means inside the lymphocytes they will fight against the invading micro. Apart from that, these lymph are responsible for carrying the fat globules after digestion. So the fats are transported through the lymphatic system. So this much you have to know about the circulatory system apart from the apart from the oxygen part. So blood is also doing the same. Circulatory system is also performing this function also. So I think by this video you understood what is a circulatory system and what are its parts, etc. So if there is any queries, please comment inside the comment box. I will get back to you. Thank you.